have you learned? Programmed to beat you. What have you learned? Programmed to beat you. to beat you. Humans, what have you learned? It was programmed to beat you. Mistakes. It was programmed to beat you. Humans, what have you learned? It was programmed to beat you.
Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Hello, and welcome back to FRLT Tier 2 here tonight. We head to the Netherlands for this week, and here is the track map for it. Netherlands, Zandvoort, 4.259 kilometers, 2.646 miles, 14 turns, 2 DI zones down the pit straight and down the back straight here tonight. As you see, quite a bit of elevation up towards turn 6 and turn 7 is where you see the largest amount of elevation. The calendar. We missed Azerbaijan, so this is only round 4 of the season, but Azerbaijan will be filling in our break week after Canada. It will be filling in our break week there. Ultimately, drivers the constructor standings, SCT V2 on top of the championship by 16 points with 57 points after 3 races. Very strong so far. ETE hold on to second just by 1 point, with POR pulling themselves up into 3rd place here tonight. AB Academy taking some points and getting themselves up to 7th, staying ahead of IFE just about. And we've just gotten into the action for the racing here tonight. Hope everybody's having an absolutely amazing evening. We are 4 drivers short. I believe we're having 2 or 3 drivers join. I think we're having 2 drivers join mid-qualifying, by the way. 2 drivers will join, I believe, mid-qualifying, so make sure not to miss out on that. Let's get up all of the stuff on screen that we do need to have. There's already a car out on track. That is often Kartoffel out on track at the moment. Pretty good to see him out on track once again. You don't get to see it a huge amount of times when drivers come out really early in qualifying. So we're about to see him go on his lap. We're about to see the first driver go on his lap. That is often Kartoffel, as we've been watching him. Let's ride on board with the SCT driver as he heads round the banked final corners. Now he heads down the pit straight. DRS open for the short amount of distance as you come down towards turn 1. 50 meters of braking point. He gets that perfect, and he gets the apex incredibly well, going maybe a little bit slowly. But so far, first turn 1 very good. Now through turn 2, now into turn 3, the banked corner of turn 3 there. And again, very nice, as he's now going to come up through turn 4, of course 5 and 6 here. That's turn 6. Now into turn 7 he goes flat out through turn 7. You don't even have to come off of the brake at all. Ultimately, once again through turn 8, he goes wide. He goes off onto the runoff, and that is his lap, ultimately having to be abandoned here for the moment. I think we do have Domi, who's on a lap. Yeah, so Domi is the next one on a lap. Trademark Domi, by the way. He's on a lap. He's heading round. Same section again, where, of course, we saw the man of Kartoffel go off. But this time, it's not going to happen to Domi. So far, he's having not too bad of a lap right now. As now we head down towards the tight section through here as he bounces over the curbs quite heavily as he makes his way round with some speed. Now he's going to head towards the final 2 corners. Few drivers leaving the session. I'm hoping we don't have connection problems for the whole race. We only have 14 drivers. Like I said, we are 4 drivers short. As Domi puts in the first lap, 1 minute 9.504 is the time to beat off the first laps. Well, that is the time to beat. That is going to definitely be the time to beat. Agro can't beat that. He only goes P2. 1 minute 17. I think he might slow down on the lap as we just saw Fireblaze go up into P2 now. Just slotting in 400ths behind Domi. Nabali's invalidated. We've got Clerk who's coming round. He's taking a tight line around the final corner and up to the line he goes. He's going to go P3. Just a little bit further off and further behind. So ultimately, as you can see, we're heading round. Tondas just going P4, 1 minute 10 there. BP in the room also having some struggles on his laps. You can see R-Web's putting together a decent run. Purple middle sector. ETE need a big night here tonight. They really do need a big night. They need to really get in this run. Ultimately, as you can see, R-Web making his way round at high speed, as he's going to be heading down the pit straight with DRS, and up to the line he goes. It's a 1 minute 11.2 on medium tyres though, but still only 6th fastest for him here tonight. Zirconium is coming round to the final corner now. Let's see what he's going to do when he comes up to the line, and it is only P7 behind his teammate. I've got to send an invite to somebody because somebody disconnected because I don't know why they disconnected. I don't know why people do that all the time. It's not, I've always made it clear, it's not a very difficult thing just to stay in the lobby. As we can see, a new driver has joined. We've got 3 VMV drivers. Okay, what is going on? We have 3 VMV drivers now. Okay. Yeah, they've got 3 drivers in the lobby, which isn't allowed. I'm not sure why they have 3 drivers in the lobby. Really quite confused by that. I'm sorry, I'm just very lost on why they have 3 VMV drivers in the lobby at the moment. Then Manders rejoins once again. He rejoins the session. We've got Impact, who's currently on a run. He's trying to put together... Only 8 drivers have put together a lap so far in this session. Yeah, I'm really confused why we have 3 VMV drivers at the moment out there. Unless that's a gamer tag mistake or something. But yeah, very odd to have 3 VMV drivers not allowed either. As now, Impact crossed the line. And P3, half a tenth behind. The fastest man of Domi. He's finding some time out there, but not enough as it currently stands. We've got Kartoffel, who's coming round next. He's pushing hard on his lap. He needs to find some time. He needs to make sure this lap goes right. And across the line he goes. P5 he goes in the end. Looking further up ahead. It's Heat Gang. I think it's Heat Gang who's actually in that. So yeah, it was just a gamer tag mistake. That was all it was. But we've got Nabali, who's on a lap. He's done a 48.500 for the middle sector. So not the most perfect of middle sectors, but definitely looking strong out there for SET, as now he comes up to the line. And ultimately, Nabali snatches the fastest third sector, but still can't go the fastest. But Boosted goes fastest. P1 and fastest of all. Very, very strong there. From Boosted up into P1 he goes, and into the 1 minute 9.4s here tonight. And that's exactly what he'll be looking for tonight's race. Of course, that's everything he'll be wishing and hoping for here tonight. So yeah, that's a very strong lap from himself there. I think we're going to be seeing Scuderia coming around. Yes, he's on his run at the moment. He's got to make his way round pretty quickly. One VMV driver's done well. Let's see, can the other driver do as well here? He just goes to a 0.8, but is over 0.3 of a second behind his teammate. Well, a quarter of a second, by the way, behind his teammate. So he's a bit further back, but it's P9, and it's a double top 10 at the moment for him. Heat Gang's coming on the lap, saying he's put in a purple first sector. Let's see what he's going to do through this middle sector. We've got to see how he does. Throws the car through. Very nice through there. The car not really giving him many troubles. Looks like that ABE car very stable on him at the moment. Definitely struggling a little bit, maybe with turning with the car. So there's a lot to sort of talk about there. You know, a lot of these problems could be coming around because of these steering problems, but they're coming around. Oh, he loses the car a bit. He goes onto the curb a bit too much. He opens the DRS though as he comes around the final corner. Let's see what is Heat Gang going to do as he reaches the line. It's 13th and ultimately second slowest on the grid at the moment. See Sen Manders making his way round on his lap. Soon all drivers would have completed at least one, at least a flying lap. Dommy's coming into the pits. Fireblaze is coming around with some speed. He's going to be going on his lap all the way up to the line. As Fireblaze does find another 800th, but it's still only P3. Saw Dommy improve as he's only 6,000 slower than Boosted now, but still not fastest of all. Agro isn't on a lap. Tondis is on a lap though. Tondis is definitely on a lap. He's going to get some slipstream down the pit straight, as he's going to go P9, find 0.2 of a second. We've got Zirconium who's on a lap. R-Web's just started a lap. We've got Sen Manders who is on a flying lap. He's pushing hard. And you can see he's got that pace along with him. It's now Sen Manders coming around. A little bit of lag there for him. But as he comes around the final corner, let's see what Sen Manders can do as he reaches up to the line. The only man without a lap. He goes P6 and a very strong lap time from himself. We're looking further behind to Zirconium, who's improving by just 600ths, by the way, in his middle sector. So he's not improving by huge amounts. It's not going to gain him any position. He's not even going to reach a 1 minute 9 at all. So Zirconium really struggling for ETE here tonight, and he only finds a 1/10 of a second. Not good enough. Not good enough at all. See, R-Web's going slowly. BP in the room's going around. Tondis is the next driver. He's not improving on his lap, though. Who else do we have? Nabali's coming around the final corner to start a lap. I think that's Dommy. No, that's not Dommy, actually. That's BP in... who is that? It's Agro who's coming around. I think the next driver we got is BP in the room. He's improving by half a second based off of his lap. Across the line he goes, finds 0.8 of a second and goes P6 in the end. Very strong lap time. Very strong lap time by BP in the room. Exactly what he needed to do and exactly what he needed to get. Dommy's just about to start another lap with just 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining on the clock. At the moment, we'll have to see what drivers can do on their laps. Kartoffel's coming up to the line next. He's hoping for some improvement. He finds almost 0.2 of a second. He now only misses out on P5 and P4, but it is P6, and it's a strong one there for him. Looking to Impact, who's improving by 0.2. Nabali's on a lap as well, so Impact's finding almost 0.2 of a second. Potentially could be going for the fastest time here tonight. As you can see, Nabali, he's not going fast enough, but Impact is. He really wants to be finding this lap time. He really needs to be finding this lap time. Could VMV take a pole position here? And he does go fastest. He finds half a second. A 1 minute 9.027 is now the time to beat VMV Impact. A massive impact he's made here in this qualifying session. Dommy's only up 0.8 of a second based off of the middle sector. So he's only going to be going to a 0.3. He's not finding enough time at the moment. You're mid 1 minute 9.3, so he's not finding a huge amount of time. Cross the line to do a 1 minute 9.1, but still a tenth off of the fastest time in the session. There's still time to be found. Kartoffel isn't on a push lap at the moment. He gangs on an out lap. I think that is everybody who's actually on laps at the moment. But wow, okay. Very interesting there, as you can see. Heat Gang currently going around. Still, Impact really pushing himself up into that fastest time. He was, I believe, P4 or I think it was P4 actually. Sorry, P5, I think he was in that good position of P5, and he's found half a second in his lap, so he definitely knows that there's a lot more time left on the table. Heat Gang isn't finding any time. He's currently a 10th down in the first sector. AB Academy maybe having a bit of a rough week again, except for Boosted, but ET and AB Academy having another rough week, it looks like, when it comes down to qualifying. Here comes Heat Gang. He's over the curb. He invalidates. He almost spins it into the wall as well. Everything just falling apart for him here tonight. Dormy is into the pits. He makes his way into the pits now. So he's done. Next driver to be crossing line is R-Web. Let's see what R-Web can do. He's slowest of all. Only driver in the 1 minute 11s. He's in a 1 minute 11.2 at the moment. He needs to find a lot more time if he wants to move up any positions. I mean, he needs to find 0.6 of a second to at least gain one place. But let's see what the ETE man can do as he makes his way down to the end of Sector 1, as he makes his way up the hill through Turn 6. And towards Turn 7 he goes. He's up by almost 0.3 of a second already in the first sector. So R-Web is finding huge amounts of time in his lap at the moment. And hopefully he'll be finding more and more and more and more time throughout his lap as we now head through the long right and now the long left-hander. He makes his way through it, and it looks very clean from R-Web at the moment. Now heading up towards the end of Sector 2, he's up by 0.4 of a second, but he needs to find a lot of time in this final sector. Of course, he's only found just about 1.5 tenths in the middle sector, so maybe something went wrong for him in the final sector, but he's not finding huge amounts of time. Those ETE setups definitely not working out for the ETE driver at the moment. Now, as he heads down the pit straight, R-Web crosses the line, only gains one position, and it's only a 10.4 is what he can achieve here tonight, which of course is, I think, quite disappointing for himself. You can see Fireblaze getting a bit held up in traffic. I think Clerk is the next one to be crossing line. He's 400ths down, by the way, on his lap, so he's not finding time on his final lap. He won't have time. He should just about have time to save up ERS and go again when he comes round the final corner. He should find himself having just about enough time to slow down and get another lap in, but he's going to have to fly through Sector 1, and he is 3.5 tenths down, so he doesn't find time on his lap in the end. BP in the room. He's not improving either. I think he's going for another run already. He's decided he'll go for another run. We've got Kartoffel who's starting a lap. We've got a lot of drivers starting laps. I don't know who is the furthest on their laps at the moment. I think R-Web, he's making his way around slowly. Tondas has just started. I think Clerk is making his way around. I think he's the first to be making his way around at full speed, unless that is a different driver. Nabely's spun it. Half spun it, by the way. Nabely's half spun it. But yeah, it is going to be Clerk to be the first driver to cross the line on a full lap at the moment. But he's struggling a bit with the rear grip. Ending off the second sector, he's almost 3 tenths down. I think pretty much that is his lap over. But he'll be the first driver to ultimately cross the line and end his session here tonight. The timer won't go down in time, but I think for the next driver it will, or it might just get 2 of the drivers and not the rest. But Clerk comes into the pits now. He's done with this session. I think we've got... I'm not sure who we have. And now I think Sen Manders. Sen Manders putting in a lap. Domi can't improve. You can see Impact's improving because he's getting some slipstream off of his teammate. And there he goes. 0.5 tenth faster and into a 1 minute 8.9. Very good for Alfie. Oh my god. Why? Why can't people stay in the lobby? I do apologise for this. This is... I haven't got him. I haven't got him. I haven't got him. No changes in positions, by the way, for a lot of people. Nobody's really changed places. Zirconium doesn't improve enough. Heat Gang's coming round. Yeah, I haven't got him, Anonymous. I haven't got the man. As he improved by half a second, goes P14. I think the only driver on a lap is Nabali, as Nabali stays P6. And then there's only going to be Sen Manders to cross the line next, and that is the session over. I haven't got you on EA. I can't invite you. Get your teammate to invite you. I haven't got you. Ultimately, that is our qualifying over. VMV take their first pole of the season with Impact on pole position with Domi in second, Fireblaze third, Boosted in fourth, Sen Manders in fifth with Nabli sixth, Kartoffel in seventh, BP in the room eighth, Scuderia in ninth, Clerk in 10th with Aggro 11th, Tondis in 12th, Zirconium 13th, Heatwave, Heat Gang in 14th, and R-Web in 15th. I'm going to quickly tell everybody. So yeah, so now we're here for the race. Time to talk about some strategies and stuff like that. I've got to quickly double check that I don't have this guy because I don't seem to have him. Yeah, I currently do not have him on EA. I don't have Alfie, sadly. So he's gonna have to get somebody else to invite him. But we should be getting going at 35 past. In the next few moments, we'll be going for racing, getting underway. So we'll have to see what happens then. So we'll get racing very, very shortly. Let's see what we're going to be able to get some racing underway in the next few moments. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like on this stream. Definitely means a lot to me and everybody here at FRLT. We're seeing some absolute crazy support from you guys, generally. Absolutely amazing support. Unbelievable amounts of support from you guys. To be honest, absolutely huge amounts. Which I cannot believe the amount of support we've had this season, especially compared to last season. So much more support. We're about to get going and get underway for racing for ultimately, once again, the fourth time in Tier 2 this season. We're getting underway very shortly in the next few moments. So let's see how we're going to do. I think we should get going about now. Yep. So now everybody should be readying up. Should be, hopefully. To see in the next few moments whether they are. As we are about to get underway now. And now here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here for racing in the Netherlands for FRLT Tier 2. And we have gotten underway. And Impact already taking a very stern and great lead into turn 1 for these 36 laps of the race. Now heading down, there's a car off in the distance. I believe that is R-Web and I think Heat Gang, who have both gone off. We got a couple of drivers changing positions. Nabali fighting with BP in the room. Bit of contact there between the two. Now heading down up towards turn 6 and 7. Cars fighting all over the place at the moment. As now they head into turn 7. There goes a man off. That is BP in the room. He's gotten driven onto the gravel and he's straight off the track. Agro Alfie has ultimately left the session. I'm not sure why. I'll have to double check this because this is just, oh my god. So ultimately, as now they head round the final few corners, you can see a few moves happening further back. Kartoffel on Sen Manders, and there goes Kartoffel up into P5 and into the top 5 for the SCT driver. As Impact takes the fastest lap of the race so far for lap 1, a very good start from the man himself. You can see Kartoffel taking a tighter line through turn 1, and already you can see he's just staying out in front, but already a 2-second gap between P4 and P5 currently. So already the gaps building off of lap 1 straight away into this race, that the gaps are building. Yet a lot of the grid seems pretty close compared to these front 4 who are close yet very much on their own at the moment. Only these 4 really connected to each other out of everyone else. And so as you can see, they're making their way round at some speed. You can see a little bit of an attempt from Boosted trying to make his way past. Nabali's gone off, I do believe, further back. But you can see Boosted now looking from behind. Oh, bit of contact between Boosted and Dommy. Bit of contact, a little bit of ramming, a bit of shoving going on there. Kartoffel, by the way, is catching up to this group because he's within 1.5 seconds now. So he's closed in by half a second this lap alone. So he is finding time. BP in the room, now making his move on Heat Gang. Up into P12 he goes. He's got that DRS, of course, which is so incredibly important. Of course, the laps are quite short around this track, so you never get a really long lap and really a lot of chances to make moves. But Dommy, very close to Impact straight away. Oh, and he half spins it. He almost spins it into the corner of turn 4, but he doesn't make that happen just yet. And now heading up towards the corners of turn 6 and 7, especially turn 7, and it's still going to be Impact leading the race through into sector 2 on lap 3 here in the Netherlands. And so far it's been a pretty good start for a few drivers. Tyres wise, we've got to look at those tyres. Only 4 drivers choosing to go for the soft stuff: Kartoffel, Agro Alfie, BP in the room and Nabali, yet the rest have all gone for medium tyres. So heading round the final corner now, as you can see Dommy all over the back of the man of Impact, and now Impact might have gotten the fast lap. Boosted now gets the fast lap, but into turn 1, a fight for the lead takes place. Dommy round the outside has made the move on Impact, and into the lead goes Dommy, and an important move in this race has been made here on lap 4 already, with still 32 laps of this race to go. Clerk has now made the move up to P6 ahead of Kartoffel, and he's also making the push and making the move past the man of Sen Manders at the same time. Bit of contact. Oh! There goes Clerk. He's off. his rear tyres touch the grass and he goes off on track. And now he drops down to last place as there's some wing and things flying around further back in the track. Heat Gang making his move on BP in the room. Into P11 he goes. But now you can see Zirconium finding himself up into the top 10. Impact now dropping down the order. He's just dropped 2 places in 2 corners. He's now down to P4. And lap 4 isn't even over. So he's absolutely having a terrible start to his race. The first 3 laps looked all very clean. But now it is all falling apart for the VMV driver and for the VMV team. As now Boosted takes the lead of the race. And now the race is on. It's still a 4-way fight for this win. But it's slowly turning into a 3-way fight. But I guess we'll have to see later on now. 3.3 second gap between P4 and P5. And now there's some more fighting. Kartoffel and Sen Manders both fighting mediums versus softs. This is the battle that's taking place here on lap 5. Already, we're through 5 laps of this race. And coming up the hill, they're still going side by side. This hasn't worked out so far this race. But they're still going to go side by side. Clean racing, no contact. They're making it work. And again, Sen Manders goes off a bit. He swings the rear round, almost hitting the car into the wall. Yet he does save it just at the right time. Domi battling with Fireblazer, now battling with the man of Impact. Ultimately, Impact goes too deep. And now there's going to be some contact, some battling going on there for P3. Ultimately, Impact lets Domi back by. But he's now over a second behind P2 and outside of the DRS. Now, as you can see, Tondis, by the way, making the move for P5. And a very strong move he needed to make. Ultimately, this is the point in the race where everybody's going to be thinking about strategy, thinking about their tyres, thinking about what they need to do next. And now, everybody's going to be fighting their way through. It's all going to come down to this. Everything is coming down to this. At the moment, I'm going to have to invite somebody. Oh my god. Why? Sometimes I just wish I didn't have to invite people. And they could just join themselves. BP in the room, by the way, has retired from the session. He's done. Now, I'm going to have to... I'm still trying to find the guy I'm trying to invite. And BP in the room is now out of the race. And the first retirement of tonight on lap 6. Disappointing to see already. Very disappointing to see already on lap 6 to have our first retirement of the night out of 15. Very disappointing. Aguilfi finally rejoined. But now it looks like there's just a 2-way battle for this win. And that's between Boosted RB and Fireblaze 95. Or just Fireblaze and Boosted. Who are both fighting for this win. Only 3/10 splitting them at the moment. 1.9 seconds back to Impact at the moment. So almost 2 seconds now. As that does now reach almost 2 seconds difference between P2 and P3. That is now at 2 seconds. Domi another 6/10 further back. And the rest of the grid sitting 4 seconds further back off of the current leaders here tonight. Now, as we can see, they come round onto lap 8. Boosted. He's fighting with Fireblaze now, heading down the inside. He's had to lose the lead down the pit straight, but he's got an incredible line out of the absolute banking of turn 3. But it's not going to be enough for the moment. Is there going to be some racing down into turn 7? Not yet, but you can see Boosted, his car just looks so much more planted compared to Fireblaze. Fireblaze looks like he's really having to push that car out there. Well, Boosted just seems to be really comfortable. He doesn't seem to really be needing to push too much. You can see he's taking much more conservative lines. And he's not risking his tyres either, as now he opens up the DRS once again. And here he comes down the straight. Is he going to try and make a move? No, he isn't. He's going to sit in behind for now until the pit straight comes round and he wants to make that move work or make that move happen at this point. So we'll have to see whether it was purely dirty air that was stopping Fireblaze from getting out in the lead earlier. But now he's gotten it. But here comes Boosted all over the back of Fireblaze. He goes to the inside line. He makes a move far before turn 1. And back up into the lead goes Boosted. And we might have a bit of this ping pong action off for quite a while now because of how close these guys really are. As Tondes has now made the move. He's actually battling with Kartoffel through turn 1. There you go. They're still battling over P5. Now into turn 3 they go. And again, turn 4 comes round. And now heading up towards the hill. They go for next part of the lap. And still fighting a slight bit, but not anymore. They're done with that fighting before turn 7. And Tondes now makes his way up into P5. So still action happening all over the track, but mostly taking place in that sector 1. And there goes actually Kartoffel. He's gone off track just like he did in qualifying earlier. And that gives a few drivers a position gain like Heat Gang, Scuderia. Oh, and a little bit of contact with Heat Gang. And there goes Kartoffel back up into P8. But Scuderia and Zirconium both making up positions. And that Mercedes-inspired livery, shall we say, is really bringing it home for these guys. Agro Alfie, somebody's gone around. That's Sen Manders and Agro Alfie. They're both in the wall, by the way. Maybe SCT V2 are not having the best of days. Maybe their luck has run out finally this season. Maybe their strengths that they had earlier on in the first, round 2 and round 3 have really disappeared. And with one of their drivers currently down very heavily and quite far, are we going to see retirements at all in the pit lane? I guess we'll have to see whether anybody wants to retire or whether they're going to keep going and continue to hope for a safety car here tonight. You could just see further up ahead though, see pit stop wise, Agro Alfie's going to come out in front, but he does have, he won't have that penalty, or he does have that penalty. Sen Manders leaves the session. I don't think he's retired the car though. Bit disappointing to see another retirement here tonight. Really disappointing to see another retirement here tonight. Yep. Another driver leave the lobby as now we head on to lap 11 out of 36. 25 laps of the race remain. Yes, still we've got another 25 laps of this racing going on. Impact closing in slightly, 4/10 closer now. We've got some battling further back. Zirconium up to P5 now. That Mercedes-inspired livery really pushing ETE back to the front of this grid at the moment. As now he comes through the long turn 3. He makes that work at the moment. I think I saw him move further back. I think that was... Not sure who that was actually. So now as we watch these drivers go round and round, we're going to see as the action starts to pick up, and possibly later in the session we'll see some changes go on. So pit stops not going to be happening for a little while. I suspect another 4 laps, at least another 4 laps before we see any pit stops take place. So this is kind of the time that now drivers are trying to save their tyres a bit more. They're trying to be a little bit more careful with everything. They're not trying to push anything too much. And that's the main thing, is just not pushing the car too much. Not making any mistakes. But Impact is starting to catch, by the way. Even without DRS, he's been catching bit by bit over the last few laps. He's sort of 3/4 closer than what he was. As Tondes now makes the move for P5, and a bit of a ping pong effect returns to the rest of the grid, as now he is ultimately up to P5 in this race for XPG. XPG hoping for some bigger points this race, yet they haven't always had that. They've struggled a little bit with where they sit. Oh, and there's a yellow flag. Impact, he's gone off. He's dropped down to P4 now. There's a yellow flag further back, and that's for Agro Alfie, who's had a spin, and he's in the wall actually. There's some debris on track. It's gone green, but I think that's his day. Yeah, Agro Alfie, all done for the day. Second retirement of the night. Incredibly disappointing to see. To be honest, very disappointing to see here already. Yellow flag though in the final sector. Very disappointing to have that, to be honest. But now, by the way, we've just surpassed 1/3 of the race now, by the way. We've just surpassed 1/3 of our way into tonight's race. I hope everybody's having an absolutely great time. Hope everybody is enjoying tonight's race, because we've had some action going on. There's some yellow flags now throughout the first few corners, so I think Tondas is going to hold on to his P5 position for now. But just watching these front two at the moment, they're bits. I mean, Fireblaze for the last few laps, he's been a little bit standoffish from taking the lead. He did take the lead, of course, for just a lap before getting re-overtaken by Boosted. But I think he's hoping that just the DRS is going to keep them going. Domi, by the way, now sitting 2.5 seconds behind, with VMV another about 0.8 behind him. So, you know, we're looking at about 2.5 seconds at the moment being the distance between P2 and P3. So, you know, there's quite a large amount. There's quite a large distance between these drivers now. It's starting to build up. Definitely, slowly but surely, the gaps are building. But the drivers are also struggling more on their tyres as they go around. That's something I have noticed. They are starting to struggle on their tyres a little bit more as the laps do go on. But you can just see Fireblaze through the final sector is just not close enough to Boosted. He's nowhere near close enough to the man of Boosted, who leads this race, who continues to lead this race. Surprised that we've actually had 3 race leaders. You've had 3 race leaders this race, and so it's quite surprising to see, of course. You know, we don't always see 3 race leaders. Usually we've seen, you know, as of late, we've seen 1 or 2 race leaders, really. Really, as of late, we've seen, as of Bahrain, we only had 1 race leader. Well, we had 2, and last race we also only had 2 race leaders as well. So realistically, we haven't really had a lot of race leaders this season. But you can see that gap now, 2.6 seconds, finding about another 0.2 of a second over Domi last lap. So still, Fireblaze still finding time, but he is losing time to Boosted, by the way. 0.8 of a second is now the gap between P1 and P2. Is he coming into the pits? No, he isn't. He's staying out for even longer. He doesn't feel like he wants to come in just yet as lap 15 comes round. Starting to get a little bit cloudy. His Impact, by the way, just made the move back up into P3 ahead of Domi, and that's exactly what he would have been wishing for. But the gap now between P4 and P5 is now at 8.8 seconds. Kartoffel's just come into the pits. Of course, he was on the softs. He's gone 15 laps on the softs, so I could see these mediums possibly going to lap 20, possibly lap 22 at latest. So maybe we will have quite a few more laps of these tyres to go. But you can see this is probably the closest battle out on track between Impact. Another invite, man. Just stop disconnecting. Simple. It's such a simple thing. Just don't disconnect, because it's just really annoying. Really annoying. Yep. So you can now see the gap, 3 seconds difference between Fireblaze and Impact. The gap is not coming down. Teammates are about to surpass each other. Sorry, not team. I'm not sure if they are teammates or not. They look like they're running the same livery, but who knows? Nobody seems to be running the same livery. So, this is the closest battle out on track between Impact and Domi at the moment. This is ultimately the closest. But there's still a few more things to go. There's still quite a lot more laps to go. Still 20 laps of this race left. So make sure to stick around, because there's still going to be 20 more laps of racing ahead of us here tonight. Of course, it's round 4 of the season. Ooh, Impact getting a little bit slidey off of that corner there, almost losing the car while he was at it. A few drivers making some changes. Clerk, by the way, has just gone up to P9 ahead of Nabali. really, SET having a bit of a worrying day so far. They've not been having the strongest of days. Neither for ETE either, who are P6 and P11. They're on for only 8 points this race, which will again be quite a small points haul for especially the team who is generally fighting. But there's little spits of rain coming down, by the way. There's little spits of rain. If you can't see that, there are little spits of rain coming down now. So we're going to have to see what is going to happen. Nabli's coming to the pits, by the way. What is he coming into the pits for? He's going to the intermediates. Nabli is pulling the trigger. He's going to be the first driver to do it, but he's going to the intermediate tyres. Kartoffel's just set the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 12.029 is going to be the time to beat for fastest lap of tonight. Here comes Nabli. He's coming out of the pits now. He'll be the first and only driver out there on intermediates at the moment. We look up ahead. What are the leaders going to do? Is Boosted going to pull the trigger and make Fireblaze come in? How is it going to go now? Who's going to do what? This is going to be the big question. Who is going to do what? As you can see, coming round the final corner. Boosted, is he coming in? No, he's not. He's staying out. He is staying out. So is Fireblaze. We see Dommy's coming in. Oh, he's hit the wall. Dommy's hit the wall. As he gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And now he changes his tyres. He's got no wing damage. But he's still got that 10-second time penalty that's going to ultimately ruin his chances here today. A lot of drivers coming into the pits now. They all think it is time to come in. DRS disabled now. And they're all coming in almost perfectly timed. As now there goes Tondis. Zirconium rolling along the pit lane. Of course, it's quite a slow pit lane. Only 37 miles an hour. Which is the minimum an F1 car can really go with its engine properly. So, them rolling around at 37 miles an hour through the short pit lane isn't too bad. But Nabali, he's going to come out P9, still in the same position he was in. So, he hasn't improved on his position at all. He's going to come out the same position that he was. So, his day not really getting much better, really. His day's just stayed the same. Slightly closer to Heat Gang now, but not a really big difference. As, by the way, we've just reached our halfway mark of the race. We've just reached the halfway mark of the race now. The gap between first and second, by the way, has now grown to 2.8 seconds, almost 3 seconds now. But here comes Boosted into the pit lane. He gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. This is massive. He goes to the intermediate tyres. He's going to come out. He is going to come out in front. But he's got that 10-second time penalty. Have ABE Academy just bottled it because Dommy's now come out in front. Both of them will have 10-second time penalties. But this leaves Fireblaze as the net race winner at the moment. He's the net race winner tonight. And now you can see the gap. 5 Manders now retires from the race. 3 retirements now here tonight. Tut, tut, tut. Really disappointing to see three retirements here tonight. Boosted, though. Boosted is 5.8 seconds ahead of Fireblaze, by the way. As Kartoffel also comes into the pits. 11 drivers remain. We've had 4 retirements now. Rain really making some drivers struggle here tonight. But as you can see, Boosted making his way round ever so quickly. Now 6 seconds ahead of Fireblaze. So if Fireblaze drops out of 10 seconds, then Dommy and Boosted will be ready to get fighting. I mean, Dommy is already 7 seconds in front of Fireblaze. So there's a bit more of a gap there for him. But this is all about gaining time. You see, he's gaining 2, 3, 4 tenths of a second per corner. Which is not helping Fireblaze at the moment. 6.5 seconds now. In like a quarter of a lap, he's losing half a second. He's losing so much time at the moment all over the track that really he's looking like by the end of the race he could be out of the chance for the win. Or maybe he's just got to get used to those tyres and then he might start catching up. But still, at the moment, he's not doing that and he is just falling behind. He's a bit more equal this lap. He's been equal with Boosted this lap, but he's again losing some time. 6.6 seconds is now the gap. VMV all over the back of him, by the way. This is the POV of VMV. You can see he's just all over the back of that black and pink car. So now they head towards the next corner. Is he going to send it? No, he isn't. He's waiting for Fireblaze to make a mistake. Heading round now into the next corner. What can he do? Can he make a move? Will he go around the outside? No, he can't. He can't do it just yet. He's going to wait till the next few corners. Now heading towards the hairpin. He does send it down the inside. Lock up on the front right. Still Fireblaze is fighting this. He's still there. He's still fighting this all the way. And now VMV Impact finally makes his way past into P3. But now he's 7.8 seconds off of the fastest driver out on track. And once again, here comes Fireblaze chasing behind incredibly quickly. Is he going to make a move to the inside? No, he's not. But now the gap is at 8 seconds. And that is not what these guys needed here tonight. So now, as you see, the rain unrelenting, not giving a single second to a single driver out there. The 11 drivers that remain. All of our retirements have been Kartoffel, Sen, Manders, Agro, Alfie, and BP in the room. Those are all of our retirements here tonight. So, heading round, just see this battle still going on. Boosted, by the way, has now caught up to Domi as well at the same time. 7.7 seconds is now the gap. So Impact's actually closing in on that gap at the moment. So everything is just closing in ever so slightly, ever so slowly he's closing in. Yet at some points, he's still losing time. For instance, down the straights is one of the biggest places where he seems to be losing time. As we now head on to lap 22 out of 36 in this race. Whew, this race, the gaps opening between drivers. I do have to say the gaps have really opened between the drivers, except, of course, the top 4. The gaps sort of stay the same between P2 and P3, but the battles for P1 and P3 have stayed the same. So, now, as we head on to the final 14 laps of this race. Yes, it's just 14 laps of this rain that we have to go through. But we are getting through it slowly. Everybody is on the intermediate tyres. There's pretty big gaps all around. There's a bit of battling over, I think, P7 at the moment. That's sort of one of the mid-pack battles at the moment. And there's a move happening further back. And that's R-Web that's round. You can see Nabali and Clerk both fighting over P9 at the moment. That's what these two are fighting over. As we look up ahead, Boosted all over the back of Domi. Is he going to send a move? Not yet. He's going to try and get the turn in. He doesn't exactly get the turn in, but he is pushing Domi through the corners. You can just see how much he is pushing Domi through the corners. He's all over the back of that pink and black car at the moment. You can see again throwing the car through, heading down into the next double right-hander. He goes a bit deep, he goes a bit wide and onto the curb. That allows Domi to once again get a bit further out in front. Once again in this race, we're seeing a bit of a struggle for the driver chasing after the race leader. We've seen it quite a few times this season now. We're seeing it again. Clerk, by the way, just getting past Scuderia for P8 as he goes into turn 7. He's really looking like he's gotten back on the pace, and he is now one of the fastest drivers out there as he now approaches up to his teammate, Heat Gang. Now, see a lot of drivers making their way round. We've got some battling out in the lead, by the way. Boosted, trying to make a move once again on Domi. He's almost made the move, but it just hasn't come off just yet. It just hasn't worked yet in this race as he struggles to take turn 7. You can see the car being really disobedient on those intermediate tyres at the moment. The car really struggling to make its way through the corners, but we'll have to see how that goes. And now heading through the next few corners, everything is still on the line. No DRS, of course, only slipstream and ERS are going to be the most important things, and corner exits. That's all that's going to matter for the next moment. But you can see Booster is just so much later on the brakes. He's so much better on the brakes than Domi is at the moment. And that is, I think, something that's worrying Domi, that maybe a dive bomb could be coming his way any moment. It's actually a decent exit from Boosted this time. He's actually closer. He's quite a bit closer, within quarter of a second. He's chasing after Domi as they head towards turn 1. Slipstream, proving to be powerful. Is he going to head down the inside? No, he isn't. He's going to wait. He's going to try and get the corner exit. He's not able to get the exit. Domi also getting a very similar exit as well. So neither of them doing better. But here comes Boosted now. He's going to try and do the same thing he did last lap. He's trying to make it work. Again, he's not able to make it work just as of yet. So very much drivers now really racing on their own. Gaps between everybody quite open and very, very wide at the moment. The closest battle is this, and the next closest is actually for P7 at the moment. It's now, once again, this battle over the win. It will go to Impact though. Impact will currently be on his way to win this race. All he's got to do is stay within 10 seconds. So that's kind of the big deal breaker for these guys, is can they get more than 10 seconds in front? And at the moment, that gap has been sitting at around that 8-second mark for about 5-6 laps now, and it's not really changing. Now into turn 1 again, Boosted, unable to make a move, not really getting close enough. That exit just not working for him out of the final corner. 10 laps of this race remain, by the way. Yes, just 10 laps remain. But here comes Boosted. He's actually got in the exit this time on Domi. It's exactly what he wanted. Oh, he's getting squeezed onto the grass there like a nutcase. He's absolutely getting squeezed. And now heading down towards the next couple of corners as he makes his way round at high speed. He's now going to be, again, chasing after the chance of gaining some points. But Impact, by the way, he's really closed in. He's already closed in now by 9/10. Impact is really starting to close in on these two. They're really starting to struggle. 1 second, by the way. 1 second in the last lap. He's closing by 1 second already. So Impact is starting to close in, making sure he doesn't make mistakes. And he keeps up the pace with the front two. And that's exactly what he's been doing. Of course, DRS, now a big game changer. While these two fight, it allows them to close up even more. 6.8 seconds, 1.1 seconds he's now gained over the last lap. And of course, the laps are coming down, and that's exactly what Impact will be wanting, while the time gap also becomes smaller. Now heading down the pit straight once again. Exit not on Boosted's side again. He's not close enough, but into turn 1 they go. Is he going to try and make a move? No, he isn't. He's going to sit in behind again, choosing that wide line. But Domi is making that car as wide as possible, as wide as he can, so that Boosted can't make a move. Boosted trying to set up the same move again, but again, he's not close enough, sliding on the rear. Exactly what is holding him back at the moment. It's making him struggle quite a bit. You see Impact as he closes in more and more. 6.8 seconds now, the gap. That gap coming down by 1.1 seconds. In 2 laps, so you've got to think about that. The gap is coming down. Only 9 laps of the race remaining, as the laps are coming down very quickly. So now heading round to the next couple of corners as they make their way around. Heading towards the end of lap 27 as they're going to be making their way onto lap 28 and the final 8 laps of tonight's race. Are we going to see a change for the lead in the constructors at the moment? Yes. Are we going to see a change for the lead? Maybe, maybe not. We haven't really seen that for 10 laps, by the way. We haven't seen it since the pit stops. That's something I do want to make it clear. Since the pit stops, which happened about 10 laps ago, we haven't, which happened about 9 laps ago, we haven't seen a change for the lead since then. And we've actually seen a lot less overtakes than we had when they were on the dry tyres. And he's actually, Boosted has made a mistake, by the way. He's made a very large mistake there. He's lost a lot of time. And he's lost even more time to Impact here. His Impact now closes that gap down. It's mistakes like that, you know, another 7/10 of a second, another 8/10, another 8/10 of a second there. 8/10 of a second, Boosted just dropped to Impact in just one mistake, which just shows how costly these mistakes are currently being for these drivers. But this is always the main thing, isn't it? It's always the thing that you've got to look at is how costly are these mistakes. At the moment, they're definitely being very costly for some drivers and not for others. Now, making their way round onto lap 29 of this race. So far, everything going quite smoothly for the drivers. Everybody doing what they need to get done. Yet there is still some time left in this race. There's still quite a few laps to go until they will see the end. Still 7 laps on the 7 laps of this race to go. 7 laps for them to try and change the result of the race. Boosted now 1 second, 1.1 seconds as it just dips over to 1.1 seconds behind Domi in this race as Impact closes up now below 6 seconds, 5.6. Now he's gained even more. He's gained even more this race. Now heading down towards the next section of corners. He's going to be trying to make everything work at the moment. Now, as he heads round to the final corner to go on to lap 30, Domi will lead for even longer, by the way. That is 11, I believe it's 10 or 11 laps in the lead consistently without losing the lead a single time that Domi has now led this race for, which is one of the longest consecutive runs of laps led. Only Boosted, only a few other drivers have more. I think the driver with the most led laps is Anonymous, who has led the most laps this season out of any driver. But Domi is definitely, he's definitely getting up to those numbers already. He's definitely charging at those numbers. 10 laps, if he was to take away this last 6 laps as well, you get all of that. You're getting sort of 16 laps of leading. Even if you get 16 laps of leading, that's pretty, that's a pretty strong amount. But a dry line is starting to appear, by the way, on the racing line as the rain does stop. The rain has stopped, by the way, and now a dry line is really starting to appear, and so maybe the drivers might be switching to dry tyres ever so soon. As you can see, Arweb getting out of the way as he's blue flagged out of the way by the 2 leaders. As Boosted gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, that's really going to hurt his race now. As now you can see Arweb spins it further back, spins it round, and he's now going to have to wait for a few cars to get past him so he can get going once again in this race. A dry line is starting to appear, though. That is something that I think we can all agree on. A dry line is starting to appear in this race. So I guess we'll just have to see how much of dry line we're going to get to see in the last few laps, as there's only 5 laps remaining now of this race. The laps are really starting to come down now. So everything is still on the line for Domi. He knows he's going to finish ahead of Boosted. As long as he doesn't get a penalty, he knows he'll finish ahead of Boosted. But this is going to be the main point now. Can he hold on to this? Can he make this work? Arweb retires from the session. Our 5th retirement here tonight. And only 10 drivers remaining, with all quite large gaps between each and every single one of them. Now as we head down through into the tight section once again, you can see Boosted all over the back of Domi. But Impact slowly closing up. 4.5 seconds, by the way. Definitely closing up. Very slowly. He's slowly, yet very masterfully closing up. And again, there's going to be a bit of contact. Now, Boosted tries to take the lead away from Domi. Still unable to as they head down the pit straight. Still side by side as they head towards turn 1. Domi once again leads onto lap 22. Onto lap 32, sorry. And now Boosted takes the lead here in the Netherlands for the first time in a long time in this race now. For the first time in 14 laps, Boosted has finally led a race. Has finally led the race, by the way, for the first time in 13 laps. So there's definitely a lot to talk about from that many laps being led from Domi. Domi leading 13. Yes, 13 out of the 32 laps we've had here. And Fireblaze, I think, has just gone off in the middle sector. Yes, he has. He's gone off. He's actually damaged his front wing while he's at it. Free position for Tondis. Up to P4 he goes. Now, Zirconium's going to be trying to chase after him for, of course, that position of P5 as he's closing in at huge amounts of speed. Now, within 3 seconds, you can see that ETE car trying to close in as much as he can. Front wing damage definitely does hurt you around this track, but I think he's going to try and go till the end of the race with this damage, even though Zirconium is catching him by a few tenths through each and every corner, 3-4 tenths each corner. So there's definitely time coming down here, and a lot still on the line. As now we can see the man of Impact really getting a lot closer. You can see the car's actually going up the hill as he's chasing them. Only 3 seconds now behind. There's definitely a dry line now. Maybe the dry tyres might come out right at the end of the race. Maybe if somebody was wanting to gamble their race a little bit, maybe that's when we would see the dry tyres come out. But we'll have to wait and see. Only 3 laps of this race. 4 laps of this race remaining, well, 3.5 now. So the time for drivers to make moves is coming down. Impact now just 2.6 seconds behind P2 in this race of Domi. He is catching up at huge rates. Of course, Impact was the man who took pole, and he's the man to currently be on his way for a win. Domi will finish P3 with Boosted in P2. So an interesting podium sequence to see from these drivers, I have to say. But a VMV victory would be a massive one for them this season, and a massive 25 points to roll their way. 2.7 seconds is the gap as he crosses the line, just below that now. But you can see he's catching up, and he's catching up quite a bit, with the front two not really being able to do much about it, because he's just eating and eating out of their time, and they just don't know what they can do to stay in front of him, because you can just see somehow he has so much more grip. I think it's because it is drying out, that maybe his setup is more built for the dry. I think that's what he might have had earlier on, but I think his tyres maybe got eaten up a little bit. But you can just see 2.3 seconds it's now down to. They seem to lose a lot of time during this middle sector. You can see another 2 tenths being taken out of them in the middle sector alone. More and more time being taken out as the lap goes on. He's only gained about 3 tenths of a second this lap now. Now, that's half a second, by the way. The time is really dropping off of the front two. They're both really struggling to keep Impact behind as Impact continues to close up on them bit by bit with only 3 laps of this race remaining. Yes, I said it. Only 3 laps of this race remain. And that is about to become just 2 laps of the race remaining as we go on to lap 35 as Impact starts lap 35 of the race in his 3rd position. He's below 2 seconds now. He's below 2 seconds behind Domi. And that time for him, he's going to be so happy that that time is coming down. He might just be able to catch on to them at the end of lap 36. But we'll have to see as the laps go around. It's Boosted who currently leads. He'll finish behind Domi because of his 3-second time penalty. He's trying to stretch out the gap here, while Domi has a bit of a struggle on the last few laps of the race. You can see Boosted pushing his car all the way he can. He is pushing his car all that he can right now. Now heading round into the next set of corners. The long left hand, he almost loses the car again. Impact now 2.1 seconds behind. He's definitely had a bit of a rougher middle sector this time. He's struggling a little bit to keep up with Domi as Domi pushes a little bit harder for these final 2 laps. And now you can see about to reach the final 2 corners here in the Netherlands, here at Zandvoort, before he goes on to the final lap of the race. Boosted now leading 4 out of the final 6 laps of this race, as now he crosses the line to start the final lap of the race. Nabali has come in, by the way. He's come in to go onto some tyres. I think he's gone in to go onto some very nice tyres of the softs to set a fastest lap, but he has been lapped. He has been lapped, so he won't get that. He won't get that anyway, unless he finds huge amounts of time. But Boosted continues to lead. He's miles off, but it's the man of Impact who's really closing up. 1.2 seconds is the gap now. He's chasing after P2. He wants to get that P2 on track. He doesn't want to wait for it any other way. He's going to keep going. So he makes his way around 1.1 seconds. Now 1 second is the gap. He wants to get this win on track. He wants to get at least P2 on track. 9/10 is now the difference. You can see that VMV driver just taking out every bit of time in the car that he can get. Now in the slipstream of Domi, he's going to get that effect down this straight. It won't be enough, I don't think. I think it is too late in his lap to make a move unless Domi makes a mistake. But now you could just see he's tried so hard to make a move and get onto that P2 spot. He's still going to win in the end, but the man who's going to be crossing the line first will be Boosted. He will cross the line to win here in the Netherlands FRLT Tier 2. Domi will finish second, but it will be Impact due to penalties, who will see himself from pole to victory. It's all that he wanted here tonight. Tondis will ultimately finish 4th. Then we're going to have Fireblaze and Zirconium coming round next for P4, 5 and 6, with Clerk another 4 seconds behind. And here comes Tondis. Across the line he goes. The next 2 drivers crossing the line as well. Then we have Clerk who will cross the line. Heat Gang is next. And then only Scuderia will be the last driver to cross the line as Heat Gang crosses the line to finish P8. A good 4 points for the ABE Academy. Ultimately, that is the race. That is the race, and that is everything. Celebrations, of course, for VMV. Ultimately, it's VMV Impact who was on pole and takes it away with a victory here tonight and getting those 25 points with Boosted in 2nd, Domi 3rd, Tondis 4th, Fireblaze in 5th, Zirconium 6th, Clerk in 7th, Heat Gang in 8th, Scuderia in 9th, and Nabali picking up the final points position with the retirements being R-Web, Kartoffel, Sen Manders, Agro, and ultimately BP in the room. Those were all of our retirements here tonight. Well. That is that. And sadly, that is the end of tonight's stream. I hope everybody has enjoyed it. It's generally been a very enjoyable race to see around the Netherlands. Very much do enjoy the racing at Zandvoort. I hope all of you guys have enjoyed it. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like to the channel. Show support towards me and everybody who works so hard on FRLT. Also think about clicking on the notification bell to know about all of our content that comes up on the channel, from shorts to videos to streams. Ultimately, we'll be returning on Sunday for our Falls Championship once again. I can't remember which race we're actually doing, but let's give you a reminder of what we'll be doing next week here in Tier 2. For our calendar, we're going to be going to the track of none other than Great Britain for round 5 of the season. Yes, we come to Great Britain and a bit of a home race, which is very nice to have once again. Ultimately, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Also, thanks to all the drivers and managers for allowing this to happen, because without them, we wouldn't have a league, really. And thanks to everybody who helps me in the league in general, because generally, I do need it. Thank you so much. Hope everybody has an absolutely amazing week, an amazing day. I'll see you very soon. Bye. And Sundays, but here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights.
Thank you. Heavens, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you.